applause for being referred to as ballast. Thank you, Lee. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to introduce 2018 Silver Cup honoree Julie Hersh. I first got to know Julie when we served together on the DMA board, and it didn't take me long to appreciate the depth and breadth of her insight and how she could convey in very few words by just arching those eyebrows. I knew she was a person of consequence. I also knew we had something in common, but I couldn't identify it. And then I saw it in Lee's Patron magazine article last month, how Julie bridged her Catholic upbringing with kin and raised her family in the Jewish tradition. You see, Julie, we share that leap of faith, although I think mine was a bit more daring. You see, I married into a Southern Baptist family. We'll talk. Julie is being recognized here today for her leadership, her impact on others, and the successes and accomplishments that have resulted from that influence. Most importantly, we're recognizing that her influence and successes have consequence. During her time as board chair of the Dallas Theater Center, the organization has achieved some remarkable accomplishments. Among them is the enormously successful Public Works Dallas model, which aims to engage the people of Dallas in creating art as well as experiencing it. The inaugural project under the model culminated a year ago with the larger-than-life 200-person musical theater adaptation of Shakespeare's The Tempest. And of course, something of pride for all of us, another high point of her tenure was the Dallas Theater Center receiving the prestigious Regional Theater Tony Award. Julie is widely known for her outspoken advocacy of mental health awareness, a cause born of personal experience, which she explores powerfully in her book, Struck by Living: From Depression to Hope. Mental health, the arts, and education are focus areas of the Hersh Foundation, which she and Ken founded in 1997. Julie and the Hersh Foundation have also been in the forefront of addressing an especially pertinent priority: helping teens navigate the complexities and uncertainties of today's world. A past board president of the Dallas Children's Theater, she's brought the resources of the Hersh Foundation to the exploration of such challenges as bullying, eating disorders, and learning differences. We live in a world of instant and overwhelming exposure, and Julie understands that the social media that young people, if not all of us, cling to is far more often a source of stress and alienation than support. The Children's Theater Hersh Foundation partnership has paved the way for impactful and open conversation between and among teens, their parents, and peers. Today, Julie is in the forefront of connecting the disciplines of theater arts and mental health research through her combined work as DTC board chair and initial funder of the Center for Depression Research and Clinical Care at UT Southwestern. She has encouraged the measurement of the impact of the arts on mental health in the community. She believes healing through the arts is an underutilized tool, and she is a catalyst in opening discussion and strategic research between these disciplines. We're here today to recognize Julie for her impact on arts and culture in Dallas, but we're also here to thank her for the impact on our lives. Please join me in welcoming 2018 TACA Silver Cup Award recipient Julie Hersh.
Stand up. Thank you so much, Walter. This is really overwhelming. I wasn't nervous until I got up here, and now my palms are sweating very badly. Thank you to TACA and everyone here. Thank you, Don Stone, for the honor of receiving this award in the same year as you. And thank you to Melinda Johnson for being the unresistible chair of this event that no one could resist. So thank you so much, Melinda. I'd also like to, as I'm listening, I'd like to thank Father Josh for what an incredible invocation. Lee, Elaine, and Michelle Thomas, just beautiful remarks today. I'm an immigrant to Dallas, but the arts have made Dallas my home. When I moved here in 1990 from San Francisco, I didn't really think a short, dark-headed, sarcastic, high-tech nerd whose favorite shoe designer was Nike fit the profile of the arts person in our city. But somehow Dallas has opened their arms and let me chisel a spot in this most innovative hotbed of culture. Thank you for doing this. Among you, I have found my people. I'm so grateful to the Dallas art leaders who have nurtured me and influenced me. Most specifically, Robin Flatt, David Lozano, Zanetta Drew, I wish I could see everybody, Bonnie Pittman, and of course, the Dallas Theater Center. DTC has done more to broaden my perspective, electrify my soul, and make me break out in hives than any arts institution in this city. It's led by two men who have leveraged the long, incredible history of DTC into an era of Tony Award-winning innovation and inclusion, my good friends Kevin Moriarty and Jeff Woodward. To the artists, production team, staff, and board members of DTC, and Bob Tonti for putting on a tie. You all have added texture and vibrancy to my life. Thank you. Thank you to my children, Daniel and Rachel, for being so independent that they didn't show up today. And my mother-in-law, Dr. Mona Hersh Cochran, who has always been a constant supporter of the arts. Thank you to all my friends who have come to shows because of my nagging and now buy your own tickets. And thanks to my parents, no longer with us, who instilled in me the yin-yang of compulsive service and love of great parties. My final thank you goes to my husband of 27 years, Ken. Ken gives me the runway and strength to be the person I am. He listens to my exasperation. He always offers great counsel that's almost always painfully correct. But most importantly, Ken makes me laugh. I accept this award on behalf of both of us. Thank you. Today, I have a challenge for all of you, a call to action. We need to practice radical collaboration. Breakthroughs in thoughts, whether in art, science, or in leadership, aren't linear. The arts force us to look at the world differently, whether it's to understand the challenges of someone else, to sharpen our vision, to feel the steps, or to hear the rhythm. This multi-sensory experience breaks down the dulling drone of sameness. The arts communicate radical collaboration through mystery of the senses. Radical collaboration requires all of us to lift up our heads from a particular project or institution or a personal need and try to figure out how can we work together to multiply our efforts. It requires trust, investment, imagination, and sacrifice. Radical collaboration happens on the stage in Dallas. I have seen it. But here's my question for you. Can we take that same imagination and energy and apply it to the businesses, the institution on which this art is created. There's lots of areas where we can collaborate, but today let's talk about radical collaboration to build audiences. We must simplify access to arts to keep pace with the explosive growth of our city. In 2017, over 100,000 people moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Uptown is hopping with young professionals. Clyde Warren Park is packed every weekend. We have content that is internationally recognized, innovative, and socially relevant. You can just look at social media or the news and see there's a human hunger for a place to connect and have civil conversation. Culture is the cure. Yet we have performances and exhibits that are underattended. Why? The people in this room know how to find out where to get a ticket, where to go for a bite with friends before or after a show. But what happens if you're a visitor to Dallas with a free afternoon? What happens if you're a millennial or a student with a limited budget? Or a retired person who has free time and you don't know where to start? Or a business person or a teacher who doesn't have time to sort through the scattered options in our arts community to see how the arts might improve life for their employees or their students. Today, you need a personal guide to make your way through the arts in Dallas, and I'm willing to bet that every person in this room has acted as that guide. Thank you for doing that, and please continue. But can we radically collaborate to make this experience easier? Can we collaborate with consulting firms, banks, restaurants, so that more people can experience the art that's created here? Can we radically collaborate with our city to improve signage through the Arts District? What about DFW, Love Field, and the Chamber? Can we radically collaborate with them so that visitors and conventions pick the arts as the things to do? And Elaine, I know you're an avid watcher of the rodeo, but let's expand that so that when conventions come to Dallas, that's not the only thing they want to do. So can we create something online in a physical presence for all arts happenings so that someone can have access for what's happening today, next week, and next month with ease? Can the people in this room reach out to someone outside of this room to help solve this problem? Here's a secret for you. My involvement in the arts happened completely by accident. 16 years ago, my family was vacationing at the Four Seasons in Mexico. I convinced Ken and the kids, I think they were about 5 and 8 years old at the time, to go hike up this very steep incline to a guardhouse at the top of this hill. So, well, in Dallas you would call it a mountain, other places you would call it a hill, where you could have a 360-degree of the area. I had hiked up there the day before, and the guard gave me his binoculars so that we could look at the ballenas spouting in the ocean. And hopefully I pronounced that correctly. David, you can shout out.
Awesome.
Am I okay? Good. Thank you. And you can ask David what ballenas means after the talk. Anyway, we're up at the top. There was this path down that I'd never taken before, and not surprising to any of you, I insisted that we take it. So we went down this path, which lasted for about a half a mile, and then it disappeared. And it was very steep to get back up it, so we decided to plow through, going through the brush and the brambles. And so by the time we got back to the road that led back to the hotel, everybody was really mad at me, scraped up. I don't think there was blood, but it might have been close. And as we were trudging back on the road, there was a man, Tom Fagnow, who happened to be coming back from another excursion, probably golfing or dolphin watching, something a little more four-season-ish than bivouacking through the wilderness. And he stopped the van and gave us a ride. Tom, on the ride back to the hotel, Tom asked me, why aren't you on a nonprofit arts board? I kind of looked at him like, what are you talking about? I had never been on a board before. I had come from a military family. My mom and dad had raised 5 kids on a military salary. His dad had 13 children, or my dad's dad had 13 children in their family. My aunt and my cousin are here today representing that family. And my grandfather, Anastasi, worked at the Chrysler assembly line. So I can guarantee you we didn't discuss nonprofit arts management boards at our dinner table. We were lucky if we could stop fighting. So Tom didn't see that. He didn't know that. He only saw a person with potential. So he recruited me to be on the Dallas Children's Board. To be honest, I wasn't happy in Dallas at the time. I'd grown up on the East Coast, worked on the West Coast, married Ken, and moved to his hometown in the center of the country. Despite having lived in Dallas for over a decade, at that point I still felt like an outsider, an immigrant to a city that felt like everyone knew each other and spoke the same insider language except for me. That one conversation with Tom changed the trajectory of my life. Neither of us could see it at the time, but that one personal interaction set off a chain of events that led me to a source of joy and inspiration in my life. The arts turned me into a Texan and a Dallasite. But remember this, the journey started with a bad hike and a chat with an oil guy. That conversation was radical collaboration. As you leave here today, look up, look out, and welcome people. You may meet somebody outside this room that sets off a spark that changes the culture of our city, that helps unite our city. Give that person a ride, embrace that person, and welcome that person to Big D. Who knows? That person someday may be at this luncheon thanking you for a chance to help. Thank you.